Hey everyone, today I'm going to be explaining the new Expo deck that I've used towards the top of the ladder. I started using this deck after the last round of balancing changes on February 13th. Since Graveyard got an indirect nerf due to the poison buff, I veered off and began looking for a new deck to conquer the ladder above 4,000 trophies. I eventually picked up this Expo deck from a player by the name of Tin2, who is currently in the clan of Reddit Alpha. He is a highly ranked level 10 who has a personal best of 5,021. Let's jump in and break down each card of this deck. It consists of the Electro Wizard, Archers, Ice Golem, and Ice Spirit. And for the buildings, there's Expo and Inferno Tower, and in terms of spells, there's Fireball and Log. As the average elixir cost is 3.4, it is fairly easy to cycle through your cards. Let's take a look at the three types of cards. Starting out with the troops, the Ice Golem is a medium-sized tank that is very viable in the current meta, even though of its nerf. This is great paired with an Electro Wizard and destroying bait zap decks. This combo can deal with the minion horde exceptionally. The Ice Golem can destroy a skeleton army, which is a common counter to the Expo. Make sure your Ice Golem is leveled up, because if the skeleton army is one level higher in the scaling system, then the skeleton army will become useless, as the skeletons will still output the same amount of damage and are still one-shottable by the arena towers. The Ice Golem is great for pulling countless units into the other lane. One of the fastest cycle cards in the game is the Ice Spirit. It can counter a minion horde paired with a zap and can jump further than fire spirits, countering them for a positive elixir trade. In some ways, it can even act like a 1 elixir zap, because it retargets units onto different structures or troops. It also has a 1.5 second freeze mechanic. Another reliable card in the meta are Archers. This card spawns a pair of ranged units that can be very effective in battle. They are a great support card for taking down tanks if you do not have the Inferno Tower in rotation. They can easily take down Graveyard and have the tower take no damage. The Electro Wizard is a very unique card and is basically a 2 elixir troop because of its zap mechanic upon entry into the arena. When the opponent plays Skeleton Army or minions and many more swarm units, the Electro Wizard can deal with them easily. Many players have been using the Inferno Tower in their deck because of the rise in Giant and Golem beatdown decks lately. The Electro Wizard can easily counter the Inferno when placed and attempt to try to counter your Expo. Not to mention, the Electro Wizard can annihilate Sparky and the Inferno Dragon. The Electro Wizard, if replaced, will really change the meaning of this deck. Because of its unique ability to retarget other units, it cannot be replaced. Moving on to the buildings of this deck. Of course, the most important card of your deck is the win condition, which is the Expo. The placements will be explained later. When your opponent places a heavy tank in the back, drop your Expo and Ice Spirit so he cannot support his push, and then rely on your Inferno to shred through the tank. Many opponents will doubt the Expo when it has an eighth of its health left, but it can still do a massive amount of damage. If your opponent's tower is down to around 800 to 1000 health, and you are not able to outcycle their counters to your Expo, and there's still a minute and overtime left in the match, there's nothing wrong with spell cycling to win. Speaking of spells, Fireball and the Log have great synergy. They are able to take down witches, wizards, musketeers, and electro wizards. Not to mention, even elixir pumps. If you are not fortunate enough to have the Log, you can replace it with Zap. Placement. You can place the Expo in 20 different positions and still hit an arena tower, assuming that all of the towers are alive. With swarm units as their counter to the Expo, place it one tile back from the river so the Electro Wizard's Zap can be used effectively. The Expo, if placed in this position, can target elixir pumps or any spawners that are placed in between the two arena towers, outcycling your opponent. This can sometimes be tough, but when you've had the right experience with this deck, you can memorize your rotation and your opponent's rotation. A huge threat on the ladder around 4,000 trophies and above are level 10s or level 11s with maxed out Royal Giant. This makes lots of players rage. But if that is their only counter to the Expo, then wait for them to play the Royal Giant and go for an Expo in the other lane. You can easily counter the Royal Giant with your Inferno and your support cards for the minions or an Electro Wizard, for example. Outcycling your opponent's counters by baiting them is very key to winning with this deck. This deck has worked on ladder for me and in challenges. But I realized that this deck really shines on ladder because it can counter the Royal Giant so well. In terms of replacements for legendary cards, Zap for the log is the only replaceable switch because of the Electro Wizard's unique abilities. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to be making more videos soon, and peace out.